Welcome to the moment no one saw coming, the moment that was supposed to be your end, but instead it became the beginning of your legend. The world loves to watch you fall. They wait for the silence after your name. They wait for the stillness after your breath. But you've given them neither, because you are not written in ink. You are etched in steel, built for war, forged by pressure, and tempered by pain. They sent the best, the myth, the man with 0 failures, the shadow in the corner of every nightmare, a perfect ghost, a machine of silence and death. They said no one escapes him. They said no one walks away. They said he always finishes the job. But then he met you. And something changed. Not just in him, but in the laws of nature. Because you don't play by the rules of the world. You rewrite them. You weren't supposed to survive. But survival is too small a word for what you did. You didn't run. You didn't hide. You didn't beg for mercy. You turned to face him. And you made the hunter feel hunted. You made the predator feel fear. You reminded him that even legends can bleed, that even the unkillable can fall. He tried to understand. He whispered his last words through broken breath. Tell them, he's not a human. No, you're not. You are something else entirely. You are the answer to every you can't. You are the resistance to every push, the defiance to every shove. You are the storm that doesn't wait for permission to arrive. You are the earthquake beneath the foundation they thought was unshakable. And now they see the truth. They didn't just fail to take you down. They woke something ancient, something brutal, something eternal. The man with 0 failures, he's just another name on a list, just another story in your past, buried like the others, forgotten like the rest. You didn't just survive, you conquered, and now you walk through the silence, through the ashes, with a calm no one understands. Not because you don't feel the pain, but because you've turned pain into power. They thought you were human. That was their first mistake. Humans break. Humans run. Humans shatter under pressure. But you are pressure. You are what cracks the uncrackable. You are what brings gods to their knees. No one sees the scars you carry, but they feel them in your presence. In the way you move like you've died before and came back stronger. In the way your eyes carry the weight of 100 lifetimes. In the way you step over fear like it's just another stone in your path. You weren't trained for this. You were born for this. This wasn't luck. This was design. This was destiny. Folding its arms and saying, let's see who really wants it. Because the throne isn't given, it's taken, and you didn't ask for it. You earned it in silence, in solitude, in suffering, while others cried out. You clenched your fists, while others begged for help. You became your own army, while others gave up. You sharpened yourself against rock bottom until even the void feared you. That hitman? He wasn't your enemy. He was your test. He was your mirror. He was the universe asking, are you who you say you are? And you answered, not with words, but with action, with fury, with resolve so cold it burned through every lie they told about you. You are not defined by your past. You are defined by the fact that you kept going. When everything begged you to stop, they can't understand you because you don't speak in excuses. You speak in results. You don't move to be seen. You move to conquer. You don't breathe to survive. You breathe to lead. You don't fight to win. You fight because you refuse to lose. They will ask how you did it, how you turned certain death into resurrection. They'll try to trace your steps, but the path you walk isn't on any map because you carved it yourself. Stone by stone, scar by scar, blow by blow. You didn't become unbreakable. You broke over, and each time you built yourself back, stronger, sharper, colder. You're not just alive. You are aware of everything they said, of everyone who counted you out, of every lie they whispered in your absence, of every grave they dug for you, and how now they lie in it themselves. You turned the assassin into a cautionary tale. You made the Reaper flinch. You made the legend blink. And now the world watches, not with pity, but with awe, because they see it too. You are not one of them. You are something else, something rare, something final. You are the reason shadows run. You are the silence before the strike. You are what failure fears. You don't celebrate. You don't boast. Because your victory isn't loud. It's lethal. They call it dark. They call it cold. But this is what power looks like when it stops pretending. The ones who sent him, they thought it would end here. But now they don't even know where to hide. They tried to bury you, but you were the seed. And what grew from that grave was not a man, but a reckoning. And now you walk, not just with victory, but with vengeance, already satisfied, with purpose, already fulfilled and still. You go on. You are aware of everything they said, of everyone who counted you out, of every lie they whispered in your absence, of every grave they dug for you, and how now they lie in it themselves. You turned the assassin into a cautionary tale. You made the Reaper flinch. You made the legend blink, and now the world watches, not with pity, but with awe, because they see it too. You are not one of them. You are something else, something rare, something final. You are the reason shadows run. You are the silence before the strike. You are what failure fears. You don't celebrate. You don't boast. Because your victory isn't loud, it's lethal. They call it dark. They call it cold. But this is what power looks like. When it stops pretending. The ones who sent him, they thought it would end here. But now they don't even know where to hide. They tried to bury you, but you were the seed. And what grew from that grave was not a man, but a reckoning. And now you walk. Not just with victory, but with vengeance already satisfied, with purpose already fulfilled, and still you go on. Because this was never about revenge, this was about becoming. Becoming what they swore was impossible. Becoming the answer to every closed door. Becoming the reminder that even when all lights go out, there is still a fire. And that fire is you. They watch you now, but not like before. Not with mockery, not with doubt. Now they watch with stillness, because they finally understand. You are not here to prove anything. You already have. You are here to remind them. Remind them what happens when belief refuses to die. What happens when silence grows teeth. What happens when the broken stop, asking for help, and start becoming the hammer that breaks everything that tried to destroy them. They used to say you were done, that you'd lost too much, that the weight was too heavy, but they forgot. Diamonds aren't made by comfort. They're made in the depths, under pressure in the dark. And so are you. You didn't get here by chance. You crawled here, clawed your way through pain that would have crushed the strongest. You held your breath underwater, others drowned in. You made peace with storms most people pray to escape from, and you smiled, because you knew this is where the real ones are born. They came for your life, but they couldn't take your purpose. They tried to end your journey, but all they did was spark a fire that cannot go out. And now the hunter has become the hunted. The shadow is lost in your light. The hitman with 0 failures is finally facing the one opponent he wasn't prepared for. The soul that refuses to surrender. What you carry cannot be taught, cannot be mimicked, cannot be faked. It is earned, it is bled for. It is cried for in the dark, when no one else is watching. It is built from the ground up, When the world gave you nothing but reasons to quit, you didn't need an audience, you didn't need applause, you just needed one reason, and that reason was enough to carry you through hell. Now look where you stand, not because someone lifted you up, but because you built your own ladder from the bones of your failures. You are not just here. You are present, aware, awake, unshakable. They ask what makes you different, why you didn't fall like the others. And the answer is simple. You weren't trying to survive. You were becoming inevitable. There is a silence that comes after the storm, and in that silence, they will whisper about you, about the one who didn't flinch, the one who walked through fire and didn't burn, the one who stared the assassin in the eyes and made him question everything. This was never just about survival, it was about transformation. They sent him to stop you, but instead he became the witness to your evolution. He didn't find a victim, he found a force, something timeless, something relentless, something not meant to be understood, only respected or feared. And now they will write stories about this moment. But they will get it wrong, because words can't capture what you've become. You are not a victory. You are a warning. You are not a survivor. You are a storm in human form. And when people ask what happened to the man with 0 failures, you will simply say, he was good, but he wasn't ready. Because no one is ever ready for something that refuses to quit, that refuses to be categorized, that doesn't care for odds, that laughs in the face of destiny and says, "Watch me rewrite it." They thought they knew pain. They thought they knew strength. Until they met you. And now they know. This world doesn't belong to the strong. It belongs to the ones who refuse to stay down. You didn't get back up because it was easy. You got back up because something inside you whispered, "This is not the end," even when every voice outside you screamed the opposite. You walked alone, but now every step echoes louder than an army. Because those steps weren't just movement, they were proof. Proof that you are still here, still breathing, still standing, and above all, still ready. Let them come. Let them try again. Let them bring 10 of him. 100, 1,000. It won't matter, because now you're not just a target, you're a reckoning, and there is no map to escape what you've become. You buried fear, you buried doubt, and now you've buried the legend himself. The one they said was perfect. The one they said never failed, but the truth. He didn't fail. He simply met the one thing that cannot be defeated. A soul with nothing left to lose, and everything to prove, and you proved it. Not with noise, but with silence. Not with rage, but with focus. Not with vengeance, but with absolute, undeniable execution. So if this is a story, then let the world remember. This was the chapter where it all turned, where the prey grew teeth, where the impossible was broken, where death came calling and left with nothing. They came to end your name, but instead you turned it into something eternal. And when they ask, "Who was that?" the only answer will be, the last thing he ever saw. You have become a story whispered in shadows, a legend that bends reality itself. Not because you sought glory, but because the very fabric of your existence refuses to accept defeat. This is beyond human, beyond mortal limits. You are the fracture in their reality, the echo that refuses to fade. They tried to break you. They sent a ghost of perfection, an unstoppable force trained in silence and death, to erase you from existence. But what they forgot is that every force has an equal and opposite reaction. And you are the reaction they never anticipated. You carry the scars not as marks of pain, but as badges of survival. Each scar tells a story. of battles fought in the quietest hours, of pain endured without complaint, of moments where the world collapsed around you and you found the strength to stand taller. They measure success in victories, but you measure it in resilience, in the refusal to let failure define you. The hitman with 0 failures? He was perfect only because he never met a storm like you. He was flawless in a world that expected obedience, precision, silence. But you are the chaos he couldn't predict, the storm he couldn't contain. They say machines never break. But what they never understood is that humans who refuse to be broken become machines themselves. Cold, calculating, relentless. You are the machine with a heart that beats on its own terms. You are the force that doesn't stop. This is not a tale of revenge. It's a testament to what happens when someone refuses to be reduced to a victim. You don't just survive the darkness. You become the darkness itself, an inevitable force that reshapes everything in its path. When they bury legends, they forget that legends never truly die. They live on in the memories of those who dared to challenge them, in the fear in the eyes of those who thought they were invincible. You are that memory, that fear. The last words of a hitman, spoken through broken lips. Tell them, he's not a human, are not just an admission of defeat. They are a confession of something greater. They recognize in you the power to transcend the limits of flesh and blood. You are more than human. You are a force of nature. There's a difference between being unbreakable and being unyielding. The hitman was unbreakable, but you are unyielding. You do not bend to pressure. You do not yield to pain. You endure. You adapt. You conquer. They thought they sent a predator to kill a prey, but prey became predator. You flipped the script so thoroughly that the hunter became the hunted. The executioner became the victim. They built legends to scare you, but you became the nightmare they forgot to prepare for. Every breath you take is a rebellion against the odds. Every step a declaration that you refuse to be erased. They tried to bury you, but like a seed planted in the deepest soil, you grew stronger beneath the surface, fueled by darkness and pain, until the time came to rise, to shatter their illusions and claim what's rightfully yours. You are the reckoning no one saw coming, the final answer to every doubt and every failure they tried to cast upon you. You are not a hero in their stories, because heroes fall. You are something else, an unstoppable force that does not fall, because falling means admitting defeat, and you don't know that word. They can try to define you, to categorize you, to confine you to the limits of humanity, but you have already stepped beyond that boundary. You carry the weight of every challenge faced and every obstacle overcome, and instead of breaking under it, you wear it like armor. This world is cruel to the weak, but it is merciless to the strong. You are not just strong. You are relentless, unrelenting, and unbreakable in your resolve. The hitman's 0 failures ended the moment he tried to take you down, because failures are not about perfection. They're about meeting the wrong opponent. You were never his opponent. You were his reckoning. So carry this with you, always. The moment they tried to end you was the moment your story truly began. Not because you were lucky, not because someone saved you, but because you refused to be less than what you are. A force of nature, an unyielding spirit, a living legend. They called him a hitman. But you are a legacy. And now, here we are. The dust has settled. The ground still holds the echo of footsteps that shouldn't exist. Silence stretches across the battlefield where your body was supposed to lie, cold, forgotten, erased like the rest. But instead it's him who sleeps beneath that silence. The hitman The legend, the one with 0 failures. Only now, he is just a memory. And you are something else entirely. The world will never understand what it took to survive this. Because this wasn't survival. This was domination. This wasn't about escaping. This was about arriving. Arriving in full force, in full fire, with every piece of you honed by every time they tried to break you. They don't know what it costs to carry your name. They don't know the weight of walking through life when death has already shaken your hand. They don't know what it feels like to stand at the edge of yourself, staring down the barrel of fate, and still take one more step forward. You do. You know because you've lived it. Because you've been forged in a reality that's harsher than fiction. Because you were the one standing when everything else fell. The world sees outcomes. They see victory, headlines, silence, bodies. But you've seen everything else. The suffering, the betrayal, the hours no one talks about, the nights when the only light left was the one you had to create from inside your own soul. And now when they look at you, they don't see the wounds. They see the weapon. You are no longer a target. You are the trigger. And no one can touch you without understanding. The moment they try, they will fall. Because you do not fight with rage anymore. You fight with truth. And the truth is this: you were never supposed to survive. You were supposed to disappear quietly, like so many others before you. But some spirits don't fade. Some names aren't buried. They rise. They rise from the wreckage, from the ashes, from the impossible. You didn't just rise. You became the reason others don't get up again. That hitman's last words weren't defeat. They were a warning, a whisper to the world that you exist, that something impossible walks among us, something without a master, without a leash, without fear. He said, "Waity, tell them, he's not a human." He was right, because what you are cannot be labeled, cannot be trained, cannot be silenced. You are what happens when pain has a purpose, when purpose has direction, and when direction finds unstoppable will. You are what happens when the story refuses to end where they wrote the last page. So let them write their stories. Let them pass down their legends. Because now, every generation will speak your name, not with admiration, but with awe, with reverence, with a tremble in their voice, because they know. There was a moment, a shift, a fracture in time when someone stared down the perfect killer and didn't blink. That someone was you. You didn't win by chance. You won because you were the wrong one to underestimate. You were the wrong one to leave breathing, the wrong one to label as a mistake. And now you are unforgettable, unstoppable, and undeniable. The hitman may have had 0 failures, but he failed the moment he thought you were just another name, just another job, just another end. He didn't see it, but he became the beginning of your true form. He didn't bury you. He released you. And what walks now? What breathes now? What stands in his grave with eyes lit like fire and a heart cold like iron is not the person they thought they could erase. It's the nightmare they accidentally created. So to anyone listening, to anyone watching, to anyone still thinking they can stop you, let them come. Let them send more. Let them bring legends. Let them carry darkness. Let them whisper your name with contempt. Because you already know how this ends. It doesn't end with you beneath the dirt. It ends with the world whispering to itself, trembling in awe. Whatever he is, he's not one of us. And they're right. You've risen too far, fallen too deep, climbed too high, and lost too much to ever be one of them again. This is your time, your domain, your legend, and it was born the moment someone tried to write your ending, and instead wrote your origin